Okay, so they finally dropped some info on the Duskbloods. I've been waiting like a year for this, right? Like I think it's been about a year we've been waiting because it was from this announcement trailer, like April of 2025. Yeah, no idea what the game is, no clue how it works, what makes it up, no clue. But they just dropped previews or the preview embargo, so some people are talking about it and talking about what it is and how it works and all that. I don't know anything about this, so I'm intrigued. Let's see what people are saying about it. I'm genuinely very curious because I just know next to nothing about it. Cave Chip says Night Rain, but everyone hates each other. Okay, interesting.
Welcome to Lowenro City, one of the maps we were able to explore in our preview of the Duskbloods. As you can see, it's very easy to move around this city thanks to the new jumps every character has. In combat, every character is also capable of this, a roar that, if properly timed, allows you to stagger enemies and feast on them, converting them to your side for a time. The character currently being played is named Albert. Like many characters, he has a melee weapon in his right hand and a ranged one in his left. He also has a suite of passives and abilities, but there's more I need to talk about than just the combat. I need to explain what kind of game this is and what we're fighting for right now.
Help me understand.
To that end, I'm going to try and walk you through what a typical match looks like from start to finish.
Love it.
So let's leave Lowenro City and go back to the Duskbloods hub area. It's called the House of Night. Here, in this demo at least, you can select from one of 6 Bloodsworn, browse...
Hold on. Albert, Bloodhand Jan, Trang Lan, Sniper Layla, Senator Samira Patres, and Zork. I like Zork. I'm gonna be real. I like Zork. I've seen enough. Game of the year. I can't hear this guy. I can turn it up. He does like to whisper into the microphone. We are going to talk about the Duskbloods. Here you can see a man being turned into a jam pudding pie, smashed into bits and pieces.
Then, once you're ready, you can either opt into a ranked or casual match. Here's how it works. Each match features 8 players playing in 3 rounds, but only 3 can make it to the final battle. At the end of the first round, players can all get stronger without punishment. But at the end of the second round, the 2 players with the lowest amount of what are called virtue points are culled and removed from the game. And then at the end of the third round, the 3 lowest scoring players are again culled, leaving only 3 to do battle in the final round, where their health totals are boosted by the amount of virtue points they have. How do you get virtue points, you ask? Well, let's pretend we're just starting a game, and it will become clear. You start matchmaking by touching the Wheel of Blood in the House of Dusk, and once the system has put 8 of you together, you are all shown the map, divided into 4 quadrants. You all have to choose which quadrant you'd like to spawn into for this round. Now, you can't choose exactly where you'd like to spawn. For example, if I chose this top quadrant aiming for the city streets, I might end up spawning here, closer to the cave. That's what happens to Layla, who has spawned just outside the city streets. This works out perfectly for her though, because do you see those golden spires down in the streets? Those are landmarks you absolutely want to aim for early in the game. So these golden spires, these are where you pull allies from.
Here, sister of the Briar. My life is yours to command.
These are like summoned spirits in Elden Ring, except these are fully fledged characters.
So they're for noobs. Or is this okay? I don't know. Tell me what to think.
With voice lines and maybe even storylines to go down as well.
Okay.
There are 8 allies to be found in this demo, and the spirit you get is somewhat randomly generated depending on the symbol of the golden spire you
Oh,
pulled
yeah?
them from. To level your allies, you have to find these sites marked on the map. But beware, because if you switch allies, the old one and their levels will be lost, so taking the time to find the ally you like can be a waste of time, and in a game like this, time is everything. Luckily, to save you time, you can teleport basically anywhere on the map instantly, as long as you're out of combat. I love this system. I love how this opens up the map in the Duskbloods, because it makes your routing options so much more interesting when you could be anywhere on the map at a moment's notice. This player, for example, has found their way to the sewer. If you recall, there was a purple icon next to the sewer on the map, which marks that a type of virtue called flame virtue can be found here.
Okay.
You can actually see it off to the left ahead of us there. This is a corpse sitting in a chair with a purple aura, and it's one of many in this area, so this area is worth coming to, especially in the early stages of the game, because in my experience it would ensure that you would make it through the first few rounds without being culled. Claiming these is easy, you don't have to kill any bosses, and notably, claiming them denies other players from claiming them as well.
Okay.
It's so important to play efficiently in this game. Take Zork here, for example.
Zork.
Not only does he use one of his abilities to cover ground and attack, but mid-combat he takes a break to upgrade his weapon with the fire affinity. There are 4 different weapon upgrades you can find. There's iron, poison, lightning, but Zork's is fire, which means his weapon now inflicts burning if he hits enemies enough.
I'm gonna be real. Okay. After looking at this, obviously this is just round 1. It does seem very similar in structure to like Night Rain or other sort of battle royale-esque games where you know, each round is about, or each phase of the game round is about leveling up, gaining power and ability. You need to be better equipped for the end fight to stand a chance. It mixes in a lot of like dynamic spawning of different power-ups and abilities with a lot of active traversal and map like fast traveling around. So it incentivizes people playing it and learning the spawn points and getting really good at that. I can see how some people are going to love this and are going to like eat this up. Because I mean, it always kind of amazes me because I'm not like one of those players that does a lot of co-op or like invasions and stuff in From Software games. It's just never been my thing. But I know there's a lot of people who love it. And this was, you know, my people often, maybe not often, but I always warn people. I was like, I know this is crazy to believe. I do have bad takes sometimes where I'm totally off, you know. One where I was totally off, did not see this coming, was Night Rain. Okay, 11,000 players, 12,000 players. Marathon could never. Like they peaked at 313,000 players. I remember when this was coming out, I think I guessed it was peaking no higher than like 75 or 100,000. Like I did not think it was getting anywhere near this level. But it exploded. It did incredibly well. It's still, I mean, you see 24-hour peak, 30,000. 30,000. Never bet against From Software? Well, I think because they have this community, some of whom like the more kind of standard single player stuff, like me. I like to go. I don't do a lot of invasions and stuff. It's not the highlight for me. I like the big boss fights. I like the build crafting that you get with like Elden Ring or Dark Souls. I really like that stuff. I like that handcrafted thing. Where either I'm handcrafting the character or the boss has been handcrafted and the encounter's handcrafted like that. I don't tend to like the kind of repetitive gameplay of invasions, PvP stuff. Like it's just not my thing. But there's plenty of people, obviously, who do love that and eat it up even a year plus after launch. And so this Night Rain seems to, or Night Rain, Freudian slip, Duskbloods seems to be in the same vein as that. Like they are trying to take that and kind of find those players and then grow from there, you know, expand from there. And I think that makes sense, but it means it might not be, you know, for me. It might be still something for Night Rain fans. The tricky thing though is that Night Rain is already pretty established, and I'm wondering how much this does to win over fans of Night Rain. Because remember, this is a Switch 2 exclusive. You have to buy a Switch 2 and you have to buy the Nintendo Online membership to play this. So I think that's a tougher sell, personally. Maybe I'm wrong. But remember, it's Switch 2 exclusive. Not Switch exclusive, Switch 2 exclusive.
Speaking of upgrades, here's the Senator, who was my favorite character in the demo. He's hunting a blood sac right now, so that he can upgrade one of his 2 abilities in some way. These abilities are Bloodstake and Saurian form, which you'll see later on. Upgrades to abilities can also be found in marked sections of the map. In this courtyard below, for example, you can see a red upgrade orb behind these townsfolk, and thanks to Chang's passive ability, she can turn multiple enemies to her side at once. Chang's L2 throws rings at opponents swiftly and consistently, which makes her a huge threat at mid-range, and especially when she's in the air. With this, I've shown you just about everything you can hope to achieve in one round, so let's pretend that round 1 is ending and round 2 begins now.
Okay.
At the start of some rounds, a sort of tarot card will be revealed, informing you of some world-altering event currently taking place. In this round, a Lodomerian Zeppelin will be prowling the skies, and every character will have a transmission box in their inventory with which they can call upon a sea of flame wherever they want. There were 5 events I experienced in this demo. Sometimes a magnetic storm would strike, forcing players to swap places with each other. Sometimes stars would fall from the sky, encouraging players to claim and hold onto them until the end of the round. Sometimes you'd be rewarded for ringing the bell at the top of the clock tower. And I even had one event where bloodsack enemies would spawn all over the place, allowing us to fully upgrade our abilities. These were all so fun to interact with, and they would really change how you moved around the map. In round 2, my character would also start feeling much more powerful, so I would prioritize taking on certain bosses. In the Duskbloods, these are called trespassers, and they're marked by purple skulls on your map. Some are tougher than others, but luckily, you don't always need to take them down on your own.
Zork.
If another player is nearby, they will receive a call for help. And if they accept, they will teleport to your fight as a phantom, returned to where they were if they die, or if they manage to defeat the boss. Look at this Zork player. So they have both of their abilities unlocked, the missile barrage being one of them. That means this player has spent more time killing enemies and leveling up, and they might not have as much virtue as a result. However, the extra power they get from leveling up might actually help him get more virtue if that extra power translates into killing difficult bosses more easily.
Real quick question. Does anybody in chat know, based on the stuff you've seen about this game so far, because he's described how you go into matchmaking, right? And then it'll put you with, I think it was 8 players and shuffle from there. Is this something where like you can make a party and play as a party, invite other people to your hub, and then you go into matches together? I think he kind of went through that quickly. Maybe I just missed it. Because I was thinking like, okay, practically, how would I play this? And like, okay, hop on with the boys. You know, hop on with the boys. It's 2-player co-op. That's right. There was the whole debate over the number of players in co-op. That's right. Yeah, back when it was announced. I remember there's a duo mode. Yes. It's coming back to me. It's been a minute since we talked about this, but yeah. Okay. I remember. I'm Ambo.
That's what felt beautifully designed about this game. Everything you do seems to lead to virtue in one way or another. At the end of the round, players who killed the most enemies or collected the most items can even receive commendations, which is the 3rd way I've described of getting virtue so far. This rewards players who are single-minded in their goals at the expense of all else.
Single-minded in their goals. I will say, I really like the ability to quickly get called in, help with a boss fight, and then warp back out. I think that sounds fun, especially in these types of games. You know, some matches can be crazy hectic, and then other matches are super slow and like kind of really a trudge. But being able to like quickly, yeah, I'll hop in, I'll do the boss fight real quick, and then warp back to where you were and keep exploring and leveling up and everything. I think that sounds cool. You know, it keeps the game moving, keeps things kind of constantly turning, you know?
Basically, no matter what.
Did Hidetaka Miyazaki direct this? Yes. So this is the project Miyazaki's been in charge of since the end of Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. So once he finished the DLC, he moved on to this. So there's other projects within From Software in development, but he's only ever working on like one project as the director at a time, and this is that game. And I will say, Miyazaki Like literally until now, everything he's touched has turned to gold. Like you don't have to like it, but everything he touches turns to gold. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm not so sure about this. I'm not so sure about that. But bro, like seriously, everything he touches turns to gold. So this could be the first time that it's like a C-. But he knows what he's doing. You know, he knows what he's doing. It may not be like, you know, a 10 out of 10 for you. It might be a game that you're just not that interested in. You're looking at it, you're like, I don't know if I want to buy a Switch 2 just for this, right? Because this is the tricky thing. I think the reason why Nintendo paid for the exclusive rights to this is the same reason why it's a tough sell. And that's because Nintendo as a platform doesn't tend to have a lot of this demo. You know, they don't tend to appeal that much to the young adult male that makes up a lot of the From Software audience. They just don't. Like Nintendo has more casual games, more family friendly games. They just don't have a lot of these types of games. Wait for reviews. I would say, wait for a demo, but even then you have to have a Switch 2. And if you don't have the hardware already, then, you know, you're kind of stuck. I will say the Switch 2 is an incredible piece of hardware. Like it runs games shockingly well. If you have not seen, like Resident Evil 9 running on the Switch 2, it's ridiculous. It looks way better than it has any right looking on a handheld with good battery life. Like it is actually insane, but it's not a console that a lot of like PC gamers have, you know. It's a different world.
What you do, even if you don't know what you're doing, it feels like you do get virtue if you play well, and I liked that. Of course, you can still make bad routing decisions. There was nothing worse than when you would bite off more than you could chew, challenging a difficult boss before you were strong enough, or counting on another player coming to help you, only for you to have to fight it alone. It's not just the threat of dying and losing virtue that would be scary, it's also the fear of a fight going on too long, to where your time might have been better spent doing something else. Not that that's a problem for this Senator player. They finish off this boss with blood stake, and they get to claim a power of blood from it. These are passives that allow you to further customize your character a little bit mid-match. It's around this time that round 2 would be ending, and now things really start heating up. The players with the 2 lowest virtue counts are culled, and the 6 remaining players move into round 3. In the top right this whole time, there has been a clock, which helps to give you an idea of how much time is left in a round. But that's not all it shows, because in round 3, a ritual site will be established. This is an event that's marked not just on the clock, but also on the map, encouraging players to teleport over and lose themselves in the chaos as you all meet in the same place. The first thing you want to do at a ritual site, ideally, is to locate either the gold stones or the red stones. This player has gone straight for the red stones, which, when held, increases the amount of virtue they receive for killing another player at the ritual site. This is called sword virtue, the 4th type of virtue I've explained so far, and the most fun to collect, in my opinion.
Yeah, this sounds fun.
Now that this player is victorious, they approach...
But like, you see what I mean? Like, this is very much a game tailor-made for the people that like the PvP stuff, and that's exactly what it should be. But if you're somebody that primarily likes in FromSoft games, like avoiding PvP, if you're like one of those players that plays offline, you know, you're looking at this probably going, oh God. You know? But it knows what it's trying to be, and then it's doubling down on that, which I can appreciate. You know, it's not trying to be everything to everybody. It's like, no, this is a game that's about PvP. It's about chaos. It's about, you know, constant dynamism, and Zor. Yeah, right there. Oh, he's my favorite. He's my favorite. Poor guy. That was smooth, though. That was smooth. No way, is that a one shot? I mean, I guess you have to aim with a Switch controller, so that's kind of how they balance it.
It's hard to explain just how fun this experience is. The game starts out interesting and tense with little skirmishes with other players, but then it builds up to this ritual fight where you all face off against each other, and then culminates in this Moonblood Bestowal, the final fight where 3 players face off against each other.
Okay.
The moon tears will be mine. Our turn has come.
These fights were so hype. Everyone is fully powered up with unique abilities, summons, and even health based on how much virtue they accrued. With 3 players in the arena, there's enough chaos that anything can happen, even to more experienced PvP players.
Well, and I appreciate also that all of the level ups seem to be tied to active play. Like I used to play a lot. This is, hi, my name is Luke. I'm a former Apex Legends player. I'm in recovery. I used to play a lot of Apex. Really liked it back in the day. I eventually moved in and grinded mostly Apex arenas when they still did that. But I did play a lot of Battle Royale back in the day. That being said, where's this going? One of my frustrations with Apex, especially back then, was that there was like active reward for playing like I believe the technical gaming design term is they would reward you for playing like a pussy ass bitch, I believe is the term. And so, you know, if people played like a rat and they just were hiding in the corner, they see the drop, they run over, they get whatever special weapon they need, they get the gold, you know, every gold rifle to drop. Like they just play like a rat, you know, they sit in the corner, they squat until something drops, they get the supply drop, they wait and they loot the bodies to get the purple shields that people shield swapped for, and then they run off. Like they just play like a rat. And then it gets to the final like 4 or 5 people or last 2 or 3 teams. And then they just snipe people from afar, you know, it's infuriating because they didn't do anything all game. You'll have somebody win a round that ended up with 1 kill and like 150 damage. And you're like, what? What? You mean play circle? How dare you? I found one. No, but it always frustrated me because it encouraged people to play like a rat, to sit in a corner and squat and do nothing the whole time. And it was always infuriating when those people would go on to win, you know, always third partying. Exactly. Just jumping in, getting sloppy seconds. There's something to be said for tactical sloppy seconds. Okay. Like if I'm running around the map, I hear gunshots and I look through my scope, I'm playing Vantage or something, and I see that there's a firefight 150 yards away. I could start shooting right then, or I could wait, chill until they eliminate one team, and as they sit down to heal or shield swap or something, that's when I strike. Like that's tactical. I'm fine with that. It's the people that just squat the whole game and then come in and try to snipe at the last possible second to get the W. Like I just hate it. But this game seems entirely built around discouraging that. Like it's built around finding a way to tie your level up and power to active play. So if you want to not be cold in the end of round 2 and 3, you have to play actively. You have to be doing the boss fights. You have to be leveling up and collecting stuff, you know? I appreciate that.
But each player also has 2 lives, which helps to mitigate a bit of the frustration you can feel when you're third-partied by someone else's powerful ability. The dinosaur definitely gave me more wins than I deserved.
Oh. Laser beam. Dude, I would lose this fight so hard. Like, not even close. Not even close.
This is an exciting end to what is an extremely well-paced game, in my opinion. The victor is then rewarded with this cutscene, and that's it. For the demo, there's more to this game that we haven't yet seen. In the full game, for example, Grail battles aren't the only final round you can get. We've been told that there will be ways for you to customize your character to be more likely to encounter a co-op boss battle, among other things, for the final encounters, rather than the PvP round you just saw.
Oh, interesting.
In the full game, there's also going to be more potential for story and character progression back at the House of Night, between Dusk battles. So even if you don't place first, you're still going to feel like you're getting stronger every time you play, and like you're progressing the story as well. I'm intrigued to think how much they might develop the story in between battles. In the full game, there's also going to be more than 10 characters to choose from, and in the hub world, supposedly you're able to customize them more as well. There's also going to be 3 maps that ship with the final game, apparently, and there's also a final type of virtue that I didn't really get to show off, and it's one that I don't think anyone at the event really experimented much with. It's virtue through achieving your sigil goals. Sigils equipped before a match give you specific goals to try and achieve in the match. Take Jan here, for instance, who has the sigil of the Eye of Morales equipped. This makes him a hunter in this game, and the sigil will pair you with a heretic to try and take out during the game. Another thing I forgot to mention is the alliance system. You can queue up with another person you know at the start of the game and play through the whole game that way, if you set your parameters correctly, or you can actually ally with other people mid-game who you don't know as well. You can either do this by emoting at them basically when you meet them in-game, or after you've encountered another player, you can open a menu that will allow you to propose alliances to people that you've met. Under these alliances, all virtue is shared between you, and you're in it till the end. Well, then you...
And I imagine friendly fire turns off too. Yeah, that's very interesting. Honestly, having no idea what this game was going to be, except very broad, like, oh, it's multiplayer. Having no idea what it was going to be, and then seeing this, I can see how it would be fun. Like, is it what I would ultimately prefer them work on right now? No, I mean, my ideal would be, just go straight to Bloodborne 2, Elden Ring 2, like, take Sekiro 2, any of the 2s. I'm down for all of that. Or something totally fresh and different. But I can appreciate that this is a game that is built for the PvP fans that want a game that is Miyazaki directed and designed from the ground up to specifically cater to them. And that seems to be what it is. Like, it is very, very much the PvP game that's been built from the ground up for those people. It is Switch 2 exclusive. That for a lot of people means buying a console just for this. I'm curious how that's going to go. Because I genuinely don't know. I don't know. Maybe it does do amazingly well. Maybe this does convince a lot of people that are on Switch 2 to get into FromSoft games. Because obviously FromSoft is huge, but the audience is not super massive there, They just dropped 2 days ago the Elden Ring Switch 2 showcase, where they revealed some of this stuff. So they were supposed to launch this, I think, a year ago, and then it ran so poorly at Gamescom last year that even IGN had a video, and IGN was like, IGN Elden Ring. Yeah, look at this. Elden Ring on Switch 2 is not good.
You will become
hoping for good performance got out of playing Elden Ring Tarnished Edition on the Switch 2. And I have some bad news for those of you hoping for good performance in handheld mode, because the performance is not good.
Like, it was bad. And they just kind of like delayed it indefinitely after all of the feedback was like, bro, this is not a game that you can play at 20 FPS. It's got to run well. And so they took more time. They've been working on it, and apparently it runs way better now. I don't know how well it works, but hopefully way better. And they're dropping this on the 28th of this month, right in time to like build this out. So they have later this year, allegedly, or early next year. I don't know if it's been delayed, but they still have Duskbloods coming, and then they'll have Elden Ring 2 coming. So they're trying to build out their From Software presence on the Switch 2, which, could work super well. It'll just, be a matter of time before we see how it actually settles. But anyway, 45 FPS, I guess. We'll see We'll see. Back last year, it apparently was running in the low 20s. So I think if you get locked 30 on the Switch 2 for this, it'll be a W. Finally, Elden Ring in the bathroom at Arby's. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Now I can throw my entire console at the wall instead of just the regular controller. Yeah. Yeah, see? Just trying to expand it. Anyway, it's looking better than I thought it would. Is it good enough? Time will tell, but it's looking better than I thought it would. I think it's a game I could see hopping on with some friends, but we'll just have to, we'll have to see when it all is said and done. Cause I don't know. I think actually most of my like college friend group, I think only one other person has a Switch 2, which I guess works cause it's 2-player co-op, but I think most of my buddies don't have Switches. So I don't know. He took my thing.